Hello, welcome. Happy Monday morning. So welcome to my Sculpt series. So this series is all about building strength, and it doesn't mean you have to lift heavy weights, okay? So I want to be teaching you over the next 4 weeks how you can really build strength, nice defined muscles, and building muscle will really help with your metabolism, increasing your metabolism, burning more fat while you're resting, etc. So these next 4 weeks after finishing the 28-day challenge is really going to be focused about strength training, and my other classes will really complement this series really nicely. My Pilates series that I'm doing at 10 o'clock every day will nicely complement this, as well as some of the other sort of high intensity, so you get a good all-round workout. So just get warmed up with me while I'm chatting through a few things. So what I'm going to show you today is working full body. This is kind of like your introductory series, okay? Going forward, I'm going to dedicate Mondays to working through isolation and compound moves. And what do I mean by that? So a isolation move is when you're isolating the muscle. So you're just working, so say through a shoulder press, for instance, you're working through the shoulders. A compound move will be working multiple muscle groups. So you're doing, say, a squat thruster. So you're working lots of different muscles. So you've got compound moves, isolation moves. I'll be going through different training themes like EMOMs, every minute on the minute, a little bit of German volume training, lots styles of training over the next few weeks, and I'll be talking about rep ranges, whether to lift heavy, light, time under tension, tempo of exercises, all that kind of stuff. So much I'm going to be teaching you guys over the next 4 weeks until we go into our next challenge, and then we come back to strengthening. So it's always really important to just keep your muscles guessing, keep changing up your routine all the time, which is why if you've been following me for a while, you'll see that all of my workouts are very different. For boredom reasons, there's no point in doing workouts that you're dreading looking, oh, I've got those squats to do, oh, I've got those shoulder presses to do, oh, I'm dreading it. So that's why all of my workouts are so different. I really like to keep things mixed up. So you're still working certain muscle groups and certain styles, but just a little bit differently. Just makes it a bit more interesting, doesn't it? I've got Frankie issues at the moment. Okay, just coming onto one-legged, just give me a couple of squats. So working one-legged unilaterally, I'll be talking loads of this, so much. I'm not going to be able to fit it all in today, for sure, of what I can tell you what's to come. But that's what you can look forward to each day. So just give me a few squats so we're getting that glute activated. And then, so today, what I'm going to be going through is pretty much working full body. We're only going to go for one round of each of the exercises, just so I can talk through the style with you and what muscle groups we're using for today purposes only. So I've just come onto the other leg, by the way. And then going forward, I'll be breaking that down. So working specific muscle groups. And yeah, just go with it, embrace it, trust the process, and look forward to seeing the results after 4 weeks, over the next 4 weeks. Weights wise, you don't have to lift heavy to strength train. I often see lots of people lifting heavy weights, and it's really at the detriment of their form. So then if you can't do an exercise really perfectly well using your body weight alone, there's no point in even adding a weight at all. So just bear that in mind, and you can still build a lot of strength through light weights. So I generally tend to stick to 3 kilos. I've got kettlebells that are like 10, 8, 4, 6. But a lot of my workouts are lifting light weights. I will be using resistance bands quite a bit as well. But if you don't have your with me today and you don't have anything at all, I would recommend investing in some weights. But you can, honestly, just grab a couple of tins of beans and you're still going to feel the benefit of this. Just opening out my hips. When it comes to rep ranges, it's important to mix things up. So for strength training, sort of the go-to is about 10 to 15 reps of an exercise, usually repeated around about 3 rounds. But as I say, it's good to mix it up. So working with really light weights, which we'll be doing in Pilates over this next few weeks, lifting light weights, high rep ranges. So you're talking about 20, 30, maybe even 50 reps of very light weights. Frankie, you're eating my foot. Very light weights. But when you're lifting heavier, then it's better to have your rep ranges quite low. But as I said, we'll be mixing it up quite a bit. So please do grab a chair for this workout as well. So I should have mentioned that. Frankie, stop eating my feet. Grab a chair. There is some exercises that I want to talk through with you. So take today as your little taster of what's to come. This is basically going through every single muscle group. Let's just give some arm circles while I'm chatting away. Basically going through every single muscle group just for 1 round. So obviously going forward we won't be doing this because we'll be breaking it down. So tomorrow we'll be working predominantly through the glutes and the legs. And then the next day we'll be working through maybe shoulders and chest and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be breaking it down. But purposes for today, we'll kind of just be doing a little bit of everything. When it comes to, just give me some side lunge while I'm still chatting. When it comes to wearing trainers or no trainers, I prefer to wear no trainers. So I get lots of people asking me, oh, sometimes you're wearing trainers, I don't know when's the best time to wear trainers, and I kind of copy you. To be honest, I would train all the time with no trainers on at all. It doesn't, even at high intensity, I'm quite happy with no trainers. For a lot of people, when you're doing high intensity work, jumping around, then you want trainers on for support. Generally, I only ever wear trainers because it might go well with my outfit. That is the only reason. A really bad reason, isn't it? So say I've got a purple outfit on and I've got purple trainers, I might want to wear the purple trainers. That really is the only reason. So just bear that in mind. For strength training, to get a bit deeper into your squats and everything like that, then probably go without the trainers, okay? Lose the trainers. And I'm going to be talking to you as well about different muscle groups that we'll be working and different styles. Okay, I'm going to stop chatting. Well, I am going to be chatting a lot today, to be fair. But let's get on with it, shall we? So I want you to grab your weight. I'm going to have to do something with Frankie. Frankie, can you just please behave? Just stay there. Good boy. Okay. So I'm going to start with squats. Okay. Quite a few different variations of squats. So we're going to go through 5 different variations. One of them is I do want you to have a chair for. Okay. And I'm going to talk to you about the reasons why there's so many different variations of the squat. Now, I'm only going through 5 today, but believe me, there's a lot more. So what we want to do is we want to have quite a narrow stance. When I say narrow stance, I mean slightly wider than shoulder width apart. Your toes pointing out slightly. And we're going to take, Frankie, so just quite narrow. I'm going to come down into a squat and take the weight either side of my knees, okay? Either side of my knees. And I'm dropping my chest, my torso quite low, as you can see. So I'm coming down into a nice right angle here and coming up. Exhale when you get to the top of the movement, okay? So, and really sort of squeeze those glutes in at the same time. So we're going to come down. Okay, ready? Come with me. Okay. Now I'm not going to necessarily count the reps. Just go with me, okay? So, ready? Down. Draw that belly button in at the top, okay? So these types of squats, we're predominantly working through the quads and the glutes, okay? And we want our torso to be dropping slightly. So we're bringing the weight down, but you want to make sure that your back is nice and straight, okay? Back must stay straight. I'm coming down, nice and deep. Exhaling at the top. Squeezing those glutes even. Now when we come to time under tension, I talk about tempos, time under tension, etc. Keep going. Time under tension, etc. And that's when I'm talking about that, so I'm just going to show you while you keep squatting. Time under tension would be like slow down, quick up, or slow down, slow up, okay? So that's when I'm talking about time under tension. And time under tension is a really important training method as well for building strength. That's why we like to mix things up. So yeah, time under tension, tempo, etc. So if we were to come down and pause it, and then come back up, etc. So I just want you to take a little mini step out. We're going to bring the weight in front of us now, and then come down. Really squeezing your glutes. This just promotes a little bit more of glute activity, taking a slightly wider stance. Weight comes down in front of you. Turn those toes out slightly. Keep squatting, clenching those butt cheeks as you come up, drawing that belly button in. And whilst the squats predominantly work through the quads, so when I talk about quads, I'm talking about the front of our thighs, okay? And our glutes, as in, obviously, our butt cheeks. So keep squatting here. Exhale on the top of the exercise, up right at the top, and draw that belly button in. Inhale. Big breaths. Dropping your chest slightly down. Now, if you've got a long torso, okay, so lots of people have long upper bodies, short legs. I tend to be the other way around. I've got long legs and a short torso. So people with a long torso, long upper body, they're going to have to lean forward slightly more because they're to compensate for their long legs. Now, I'm just going to take my weight to the back. So if you do have a spare pair of dumbbells, grab your dumbbells and I want you to put your heels on the dumbbell because I just want to show you the difference. I'm going to show you from the side actually. So, this is a front racked squat, okay? Now to get the depth in, I'll show you first here. So I want to basically come up. So my chest is nice and high now. So when I was here, I was dropping my chest. When I'm here, I want to keep my chest nice and high, okay? And now I can get quite low in this squat, but I can get a lot lower if I raise my heels up, okay? Look how much deeper I can get. So if you do have a pair of dumbbells, or you can do this with a book or a plate or something like that, so you can get nice and deep. So I will be using this quite a lot. So we're going forward when I need you to have a book at hand or another weight. So just give me some squats and just feel the difference and how deep you can get. Bring the weight out in front of you, okay? You want to keep your chest nice and high in this one. That's it. So we're really promoting some hip flexion here as well. And because we're upright, it's causing a lot less stress on our back in an upright squat. So going forward, when we come to squats, those people that do suffer slightly with their backs, you're much better to be up into this position. Also those people that have flexibility problems in their ankles, because if you think about it, when you're squatting down, if you can't, for instance, lift your foot up like that naturally, and your flexibility in your ankle isn't, you're not going to be able to go past a range of movement much further than that, because that flexibility in that ankle isn't allowing you to bring that weight forward, okay? So also with your heels raised, you're helping that inflexibility in those ankles, pushing those knees out nice and wide. I think we've done quite a few of those squats, haven't we? Okay, so now I'm going to take we're going to do a power squat. So we want a really nice wide stance, toes pointing out, and we're going to come down into a deep squat. So this deep squat, you can take your weight down as long as your chest stays high. Okay, so we're really working through the abductors, so through the inner thighs here, with a wide stance. We're promoting a little bit more glute activation from a wide stance and working through those inner thighs, which you can probably feel from Saturday. I'm feeling it's right at the back of those hammies that I'm feeling it from Saturday. So a wide power squat, okay? Now, that's shown you, keep going with those power squats, keep going. That was just 4 basic squats that I just showed you. Got warm already. And there's so many different more, like the hack squats and stuff. You'll do up against a wall, running your legs down the wall, back down the wall even. Seated press, seated squats. So if you come into a seated position, what's the difference between this and a normal squat? Is you promote and facilitate much more quad strengthening. Okay, the reason being, okay, you're coming up and nice and controlled down, and then you're resting down for a few minutes. So you're letting your muscles recover before you lift back up. Whereas in a squat, you're holding, those muscles are working, okay, constantly. There's no rest going on, okay? When you come down into a seated squat, you allow those couple of seconds for that muscle to release off. So then when you stand, you facilitate a lot more quad activity going on. So a seated squat is much better at facilitating the quads working harder. And just take that weight off, just a couple of breaths in, and stand. Squeeze those glutes. And you can come to one-legged squats. I'm going to sit on you, Vangie. One-legged squats, which again, exactly the same. You really want to nice and control down. Rest off. Make sure you rest off. And up. So you rest off that quad. It's not doing anything. And then it powers up, that muscle powers up even more. Oh. And just do a few more on the other side. And you really want to control it on the way down. Now, when I was saying about long torsos in the squat position, you're more inclined to lean forward. So if anyone's ever said to you, oh, come on, you're doing a squat wrong, you're leaning forward way too much, it's probably because you're not doing it wrong. You've just got a very long torso. Most of the power lifters in the world, they're power lifters and they will have long torsos, okay? Because they can get much better range, they can get forward and get a big power lift up, okay? So, you know, there's not necessarily a right and wrong, okay? It does depend on the dimensions of your body, as well as your hip flexibility. Hip flexibility will play a big role in being able to get nice and low and deep into a squat. So we're just going to go through some, whether you've ever heard of good mornings, okay? Good morning, everyone. Good morning exercise. So there's 2 options, okay? So you've got a bent good morning and a straight leg good morning. Now, I like to take the weight up onto my shoulders and I'm just resting it like here, okay, at the top of my back. And you've got Straight leg, good morning. So I'm pushing my hips out, okay? Trying to keep my arms out. Now my hamstrings are really tight today. Hold on a sec. Oh, something's not quite right with my... My recording went off for some reason, which is very annoying. So holding the weight at the back. So you want to get nice, quite straight legs, okay? So as straight as you can, coming forward and up. So with your straight legs, you're lengthening through the hamstrings. And then if you've got your bent legs, so you can come down nice and deep. So you're relaxing through the hamstrings slightly and facilitating a bit more hip flexion. Okay, so you can feel that much deeper in your hips and as you come up in a bent leg. So let's just do 10 straight leg and then 10 bent leg, and you can feel the difference. So down, straight, try and keep them straight. I'm trying to keep my legs straight. 4, I'm so tight in my hamstrings. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now go for bent leg. Dropping through the chest. Dropping through the chest. 2, 3. Feel that deep in your hips, because we're facilitating hip flexion here. Relaxing slightly through those hamstrings. But you're still feeling it through your glutes. Pushing those hips back. 2 more. 1, 2. Well done. Okay, when it comes to lunges, I'm going to save the lunges for tomorrow's session because we're working through the lower body. Now there's lots of different types of lunges, just to quickly show you. So you've got your nice wide stance lunge, you've got your split squats, you've got your curtsies and all sorts of stuff, but I'm going to talk you through that tomorrow because there's so many different variations of a lunge. But as I said, there's a lot that I want to get through with you today. So we're going to go working on the back now. So I do want you to have a chair for this workout. I'm just going to see if I can move Frankie just to here. Okay, so I want you to take one knee up. So you can have a heavier weight. So I might use my kettlebell for this one. So I want one knee on, the other hand to here. Okay, so my chest is nice and low. So if you've got a bench, then great. So what we want to do is we want to bring the weight up, really get a good range here. So really get that elbow up nice and high. Down, and you want to breathe here. Okay, exhale at the bottom. So inhale, exhale. And you really want to pull that elbow up. So if you hold it up, you really feel your lats working, okay? So those lats are on fire. And down. Let's go for 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're working a little bit through the biceps here as well. 8, 9, 10. But we're predominantly working through the lats, the latissimus dorsi down here. But we're also working through the trapezius, which is up here, and a little bit through the biceps. Now, in that position, okay, if you think your shoulder, okay, is locked in. When you're coming up from here, you want to lock that shoulder in, not here, lock it in and down, and then you can release, okay? So your arm is hanging down here, lock it in, row, down, then you can release. lock it in, row, down, then you can release. Lock it in, row, down, then release. Lock it in, row, down, then release, okay? Because that position, you're going to get a lot more lat work through there, okay? So let's just go to the other side. So as you were, not concentrating on the locking it in, down, inhale, exhale at the bottom. Really pulling that elbow back. 6, 7, 8. Keep your back nice and straight. 9, 10. Lock it in, row, release, release, release. Really got much more activation through the trapezius muscles there and through the lats from locking it in before you really drop down. Okay, when it comes to standing rows, let's just move you to there, boy. Okay, standing rows. So we've got two options of standing rows. Your hip flexion down, chest horizontal, nice and parallel to the floor. Okay, and you've got your rows down. We can alternate or we can go for double rows. So if you go for a double row, so we're much more working through the inferior middle trapezius muscles in the back, okay, at the top, as well as through our lats. And if we come up to a higher position, say to here, then we're much more working for our superior trapezius muscles. Okay, and really squeezing those shoulder blades back. Okay, so there's a difference in the muscle group we're using in a high bent over row or in a low bent over row. We're just working the muscle groups just slightly differently. So just working through those lats as well. So you should be feeling all throughout your back and coming up. Deadlifts is a great one for your back. So we're working all through back at the moment. So deadlifts, you want to think about pushing your hips to the back of the room, okay? So you're coming down. There's lots of different variations of deadlift. So this is a deadlift, okay? Whoops, chair in the way. Squatting down, okay? You've got Romanian deadlifts, all sorts of different sorts. So for today, we're just going for stiff-legged deadlift, okay? So down, pushing your hips back. You want to make sure your back is nice and straight. So this is really working through our back muscles. But we're also working through our hamstrings, through our glutes, and you want to come as low as you can in a stiff leg deadlift, so low. And if you have a step or a box, you can stand on a step or a box and try and get that range even further down. Just making sure that your back stays nice and straight. Those of you that keep going, by the way. Those of you that struggle to keep your back straight, I've got a video on my website for this. But if you grab a broomstick or a pole or anything you've got and hold it like this and come down, it will really help you to get that positioning right. And I know it's very difficult for some people they can, because they can stand nice and straight, but when you come down to here, you lose everything. It goes out of your mind and you're like this, okay? So if you just do see the difference for me from going like this, you know, there's no activation for your core whatsoever going on here. You want to be strong through the core, pushing those hips back. Now, quite a good cue point for trying to push your hips back is if you stand near a wall, and imagine there's a button on the wall and you're just trying to press it, okay? You're just trying to press the button on the wall, just like this, okay? Then you can you can step away, press that button on the wall, okay? That gives you a good indication. Step away again, can't push that button, okay? So that's quite a good sort of a little drill to do to encourage you to get your hips back and to keep your back nice and straight. But I'm going to be going through so many different little cues for you anyway. Okay, the lateral raises. So bent over flies even. So we want to come down, chest nice and low, and we're going to take our arms out to the side, okay? So arms out and down, arms out and down. So here we're working through the back, but we're also working through the shoulders, through the deltoids. And you can really feel that working through your back. There's so many different back strengthening exercises, and I really want to do a lot of back strengthening exercises over the coming weeks because I know it's so important for strengthening back anyway, but mostly important that it gives you a good solid foundation to build on strength training. If your core and your back is really strong, then it's going to help you through any of your workouts, through even working through the shoulders, through the biceps, through everywhere. So sticking with the back theme just for a moment. Okay, so I'm going to change my weights. Because I'm predominantly working, because we're all working from home, I'm not expecting you to get a load of equipment. Dumbbells is enough. Okay, so there's plenty you can do with dumbbells. So I'm placing the weight to here and grabbing hold of the weight here. Okay, and I'm going to lean forward, nice and low. So we're really working through the back muscles here, forward and back. Working much more through the lumbar region as well, through the mid and lower back. And just keep your back straight. Try not to do, if you start rounding, I just felt that in my back in not a good way. And if you can feel, you're probably feeling this working through your hamstrings slightly as well. And trust me, if we did a few sets of these, you would be really feeling that in your back. Just give me a few more. 2, 3. Okay, so that is again a really good back exercise that we'll be doing quite a bit of. Upright rows are another really good one. So you can do this seated or standing. You want to lead with your elbows, okay? Those elbows are leading. The weight isn't, you don't do this. Okay, lead with those elbows. And you really feel this working in your upper traps and your deltoids as well, okay, for your shoulders. Really slow and controlled. Now, if we take a wider grip out to here, you're much more working it through your delts, so much more working through the back of our shoulders as well. But it's a good back strengthening exercise for the upper back trapezius muscles. Another great exercise for your trapezius muscles. If you think about it as we get older as well, we want to hunch. That is due to tight chest muscles, which we want to stretch, and weak upper back muscles, which we want to strengthen. Stretch the chest, strengthen the upper back, pulls that shoulders back, creates a really nice posture. Okay, as soon as you get weak through those muscles, that's what happens. You want to be here. So anyone's posture that they naturally stand like this, you really want to be concentrating on upper back strengthening and stretching of the chest. Great one is the door stretch. Okay, so another really good upper back strengthening is the shoulder shrug. So we want to go one side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can do the shoulder shrug with your arms slightly back as well, working slightly different for you through the trapezius muscles. 5, other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, don't know what's happened to the music, 5. Do you know what, there's so much I want to cover today, and not going to have time. Why is that not working? And behind. 5. So, anyone like this, I'll be helping you out in the next 4 weeks for sure. So, when it comes to shoulders, we're probably only going to get time to do shoulders, not be able to get through them. But as I say, this is like an introduction of what's to come. And this is certainly not going to be the workout going forward because I will be concentrating on certain muscle groups. So just bear with me today. And it's really useful and that you know everything that I'm listening to, everything I'm saying today. So, okay, shoulder press. So, shoulder press works through the middle delts, okay? So palms facing away, okay? So if we come into an Arnold press, so that's when your weight is here and up, okay? That's working much for your anterior delts, which is why it's harder, because we're usually a little bit weaker through those muscles. Now, when it comes to lateral raises, okay, coming to the side, if you keep your just to shoulder height, now you really do not need to lift heavy with these ones, okay, because if this happens, or you can't lift it because your arms are bent, honestly, there's no point. You may as well not choose a weight at all and just use your body weight, okay? So, I never lock my arms out solidly. So when I say straight, I mean that straight, okay? You probably can't see the difference between that straight and that straight, that straight and that straight. It's just protection of your joints. So try not to lock out, okay? So my arms are straight. You won't notice a difference that they're not dead straight, okay? Now you want to come to shoulder height. If you're coming up a little bit higher than shoulder height, you're promoting a little bit more of pectoral muscle use, okay? Right at the edges of the pecs. Okay, so if you come up a little bit higher than shoulder height, pec activity comes into play. Okay, if you're just coming out just to shoulder height, now you can probably see when I raise my arms up to the side, I know this is something I want to focus on this week. So if I'm holding up, I think that my arms are dead straight, but I can see in my laptop that they're not. This arm needs to come up to here. Now that makes me dead straight, but it doesn't feel it. Now, predominantly that's because my lats are tight, okay, on this side. So it's stopping me from lifting. So I know that I really need to focus on lengthening those muscles in my lats on that side. So there's lots of different things that we'll be doing to correct imbalances as well. Oh, I'm running out of time. Just quickly, when it comes to biceps, there's obviously so many different biceps. If you do a couple of curls with me, okay, of normal bicep curls, and then you see the difference between an isolation curl. So we want to come down here, resting your elbow inside, and you'll see the difference is we're really isolating those muscles. So it just becomes So I just don't know why my music has stopped playing. Oh well, let's just leave it for now. Okay, isolation. So you're really isolating that bicep. And in a bicep curl, so sorry, you keep going for bicep curls. You stand doing bicep curls while I'm telling you this. In a bicep curl, we're much more working through the inner and outer biceps, okay? When we do a hammer curl, so palms facing, we're much more working through the front of the biceps. Through an isolation, you're obviously really isolating through that, because in a bicep curl, you're still promoting a little bit of tricep activity, forearms as well, whereas in the bicep curl, you're much more isolating those muscles in the seated one, okay? I'm just going to take this chair out the way for a moment. Sorry, Frankie, I'm going to have to wake you, boy. Go there. Triceps, we're obviously going to be working a lot through the triceps, by the way, in Pilates next. So I'm going to rest the triceps. But obviously you've got tricep extensions, you've got your pushbacks, all working slightly differently through those, okay? And yeah, you've got your tricep presses, you've got your skull crushes and all sorts going on. So if you come down onto your back, in fact, I'm going to finish just showing you a little bit through our chest, okay? So with a chest, you've got your standard chest press that's coming out to the side. So feel free just to go for a chest press while I'm chatting through this, okay? So you've got your chest press, okay? And you can take your arms down slightly, okay? So you're creating like a triangle shape from your elbow through to your head, okay, in a tricep press here. Chest press here. When you're doing a chest press, you never want to bring your arms in here. So I see this a lot. You want to keep your arms out, okay? So working here is much more working for your upper pecs, whereas working down, we're working for your lower pecs, and then down narrow, you're much more working for your triceps and lower. Okay, so there's lots of different variation. When it comes to the flies, and your arms are coming out to the side, that promotes much more range through the chest muscles, and obviously a little bit through the arms. But again, I'll talk through that. Now, when it comes to your abs, we will be doing quite a lot of ab work as well. So we've got our crunches. Okay, so crunches are a great all-round ab exercises. Okay, when it comes to, so just give me some crunches, just crunches here while I'm talking through this. So you've got your crunches, and then you've got your sit-ups, which you can take your hands out in front of you, which will help you to get up, okay? If you can, you want to have your hands behind your head. So I'd love all of you at the end of this 4 weeks to be able to do a full sit-up without having to use your hands. Okay, using a weight and your hands is going to help you up. And whenever I say hands behind your head, you never want to be in this position, clasping your hands. That's a no-go, okay? You just want to have your hands to here. Okay, you're supporting your head, but you're not taking the weight of your head and coming up, okay? So just give me some sit-ups. Now, we're much more working through our rectus abdominals, so our six-pack muscles, okay? For your outer rectus abdominals is in the sit-up. Whereas a crunch, you're much more working internal, okay? Especially if you're using your breath to crunch up. So often, people will actually find the crunches a more difficult exercise than the sit-up, because majority of people are stronger through the rectus abdominals, your traditional six-pack muscles on the outside, but they're weak on the inside. So we want to focus on the inside, and my Pilates series is great for that, by the way. We concentrate on the inner core, so the transverse abdominals. So keeping it really basic, you've got your crunches, pushing your back into the mat, exhaling at the top, getting your transverse abdominals working, sit-ups, whether that hands out in front of you to help you, or feet under a sofa or something like that to support you. But when you progress up and you can come up to a full seated press up without your legs coming up, then you're working much stronger for your rectus abdominals. If we want to work through the lower abs, then reverse curls are really great for that. Okay, so really targeting right deep down in the lower muscles, which you can feel from doing this exercise, which again, there's lots of different variations of knee tucks, knee straight, lifting up nice and high, and then little pulses up to here. Okay, so there's lots of different variations. And I know this workout, we've come to an end now. I would have loved to have carried on, but I need to get ready for Pilates. Now, hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight of what to expect. So this is kind of like your little masterclass to what to expect coming over the next couple of weeks. So it wasn't necessarily a workout, but I'm sure you did still have a good workout from that. Let's have a little stretch out while I'm chatting away to you. Just grab hold of your foot, stretching out the quads, okay, stretching out the front of the legs. And I'm really excited about the next 4 weeks. And yeah, what to expect going forward, and working specifically through those muscle groups that we've gone through today in a little bit more detail. I really want to really get the recruitment of those muscles working for everyone. So it corrects imbalances, perfects your foot form, and yeah, I've got loads of strength series on my website, but I don't have a chance really to talk too much about it. So it's more for people that have been training for quite a while now. So this series is just really good to have an all-round good workout, working every single muscle group, but just learning as you go. That's what I'm here for. Lots of trainers overcomplicate things, and they kind of want to hold everything back to think like, oh, you know, if I teach you everything I know, you won't want me anymore, or you won't need me anymore. I can't take your money or whatever. But I'm not here for that. You know, I basically want you all to know everything I know from being with me. You know, that's what personal training should be. You know, for me to teach you everything you need to know to fix yourself. Not to fix yourself, but to fix any imbalances or muscles. You know what I mean. Reach down to the ground. And roll up. Well done. Hope you enjoyed that.